Okay, so like everybody knows Batman, right?
Yeah.
But what makes him so interesting? I mean, it's not like he's got superpowers or anything.
Yeah, it's more like he's just a regular guy who decides to, like, push himself to the absolute limit.
Exactly. He chooses to become this symbol of justice,
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be diving into today, that Batman mindset. See if we can take away anything useful for our own lives.
Absolutely.
And you know what really got me thinking about this? There's this really interesting piece about how to, like, apply Batman's lessons to real life.
Yeah, there are some serious insights there.
So, like, where do we even begin with this? Obviously, we got to start with the origin story. Right?
Yeah.
Like every hero, he's got that defining moment.
Right.
That tragic loss of his parents.
Yeah.
It's not just some random plot point. It's like the thing that sets his whole mission in motion.
It is like the classic hero's journey. Right.
Right.
But it's something we can all relate to in a way, I think. Like that idea that even from like the darkest moments you can find a purpose. Batman could have easily just given into that grief and anger.
Oh, totally.
But instead he uses it to fuel his fight, his fight for justice.
So like he takes that horrible trauma and turns it into like a motivator.
Yeah.
This driving force to protect others from that same kind of loss. But how do we connect with that?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not exactly fighting crime in Gotham City.
Right. Well, think about it this way. We all face challenges in our lives, right? Setbacks, even tragedies sometimes.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's all about how we respond to these challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Can we be like Batman? Can we find a way to use that pain to help us grow? You know what I mean? Turn the negative into something positive.
Yeah, that's really powerful. It's not like pretending the pain isn't there or anything.
Yeah.
It's more about channeling it into something good, something that has meaning. Not letting it break us, but using it to become even stronger.
More focused on the things that really matter.
Exactly.
Finding that inner strength, that resilience that lets us take control and create our own destiny.
Yeah. So, okay, we got this powerful origin story right. But Batman doesn't just dwell on the past. He pushes himself to be better, to become like the best version of himself.
And that's where the relentless training comes in, right? He doesn't have superpowers. He builds strength through willpower and constant preparation.
It's amazing, right? I mean, think about it. He's got this mastery of martial arts, detective work technology, like you name it.
It's like he's constantly pushing his limits, both physical and mental.
It's super inspiring, but also kind of intimidating, Like, the guy is a billionaire playboy, and he still finds time to constantly hone his skills. Makes my Netflix binges look pretty sad in comparison.
But that's the whole point, isn't it? It's not about comparing ourselves to some fictional character.
Right.
It's about understanding the value of consistent effort. Batman's success, it doesn't happen by accident. It's years of dedicated training and prep.
So it's more than just working hard. It's about working smart, too, right?
Yeah.
Consistently pushing ourselves to be better, learning new skills. Like, Batman wouldn't just sit in the Batcave admiring his gadgets. We can't just wait around for success to magically appear.
You got it. It's about embracing that process of constantly improving. Just like how Batman is always upgrading his suit, his strategies, understanding his enemies. We got to be constantly learning, growing, and adapting. This world is changing all the time.
And speaking of adapting, let's talk about the villains Batman faces. The Joker, the Riddler, Two-Face. They're always keeping him on his toes, forcing him to think outside the box.
And that's the beauty of it,
Well,
That's where adaptability comes in.
Right.
If there's one thing Batman learns from those unpredictable villains, it's that you got to be ready for anything. No plan is perfect. He's constantly having to adjust, think on his feet, find creative solutions.
It's not enough to just be strong or skilled. You have to be resourceful and adapt to whatever crazy situations life throws at you.
Absolutely. That ability to adapt, to stay calm and think creatively. That's a superpower in itself.
Okay, but here's what really gets me about Batman. Even in the middle of all this chaos, he never loses his moral compass.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Unlike some of his villains like Two-Face, who let circumstances control them, Batman always sticks to his code.
He has a line he won't cross no matter what.
No matter how bad things get, how tempting it might be to take the easy way out, he stays true to himself. And that's something that really hits home for me.
It's about understanding that true strength comes from within, right? It's about defining your values, what you believe in, and holding on to them when things get tough.
It's like having the inner compass, a sense of right and wrong to guide your choices.
It's about building integrity. That's what earns respect from others and from yourself.
And being consistent, right? It's not about being perfect all the time. It's about striving to live by your values day in and day out. That's what builds trust and that sense of inner peace.
I think you're right.
Okay, so we've got this resilient, principled, adaptable Batman. But he's not exactly a lone wolf, is he? He's got Alfred, Robin, Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
He's got a whole team backing him up.
Yeah, and that brings up a really interesting point. Batman the Dark Knight understands the importance of teamwork and independence. He works with allies, trusts them, but he also knows when he needs to go solo and make the tough calls himself.
So it's about finding that balance, right? Surrounding yourself with a good team, but also being able to stand on your own 2 feet.
Exactly. Think about it. Who are the Alfreds in your life? Those people who support you and give you guidance, keep you grounded. And then think about those times when you need to make tough choices on your own. Are you building that strength and confidence to do that?
We need both, right?
Absolutely.
But you know who really tests Batman's courage? Scarecrow. That guy is all about fear.
Oh, yeah, he definitely weaponizes it.
And that's such a crucial lesson, right? Fear can paralyze us, but it can also push us to action. Instead of letting fear control him, Batman learns to use it. He uses it to understand his enemies, to anticipate what they'll do.
He even uses it against them sometimes.
It's not about being fearless, it's about understanding fear and using it as a tool.
A source of information, even.
Yeah. What are you afraid of? What's holding you back?
Yeah.
Can you be like Batman and face those fears? Use them to overcome obstacles and reach your goals.
It's about flipping the script, taking control, instead of letting fear control you.
It's about recognizing that courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about acting even when you are afraid.
And we can all practice that, It's something we can all work on.
Okay, so we talked about pain training, adaptability principles, teamwork, and fear. But there's one last piece of this Batman puzzle that I think is really important. Even though he operates in the shadows surrounded by darkness, he never loses his humanity.
That's a great point.
It would be so easy for him to just give in to that darkness, to become obsessed with revenge. But he doesn't. He holds on to his compassion, his empathy.
He recognizes the value of human life.
He could become the very thing he's fighting against, but he chooses not to. He always remembers his commitment to justice, to protecting the innocent. That's what makes him a hero.
And that's something we can all learn from, I think. We can face hardship. We can confront darkness without letting it take over.
It's about finding that balance, right? Holding on to our humanity even when things are tough.
It's about remembering why we do what we do, who we're doing it for, finding those moments of connection, those things that remind us of our shared humanity.
It's about finding the light inside even when we're surrounded by shadows.
That's a powerful image, isn't it? It's a reminder that even in the darkest times, hope and compassion can still win.
So we've covered a lot here, but I think it's safe to say that the Batman mindset is about more than just fighting bad guys.
Yeah.
It's about resilient strategy, being committed to your mission, and never losing sight of who you are.
It's about recognizing that we all have the potential to be our own dark knights, in a way. We can face our own challenges with courage, determination, and make a positive impact on the world.
Oh, okay, but how do we actually do that? What are some real steps we can take to bring some of that Batman awesomeness into our own lives?
Okay, so let's break it down. First things first. You got to define your purpose, your mission. What's your Gotham? What are you fighting for? What change do you want to see?
So it's about figuring out what really matters to us, right? Our values, our goals, what drives us.
Exactly. And once you've got that clarity, you got to prepare. What skills do you need? What knowledge do you have to get? Think about Batman's training, his constant learning.
It's about investing in ourselves, right? Learning new things, growing, honing our skills so we're ready for whatever comes our way.
Right on. And then it's about facing those challenges strategically. Remember how Batman approaches every problem like a puzzle? He analyzes the situation, gathers info, and comes up with a plan.
So we take a step back, assess the situation, and think things through, instead of just reacting or getting overwhelmed by everything.
That's it. And last but definitely not least, you got to stay true to your values. Think about Batman's moral compass. That's what makes him different. That's what makes him a symbol.
It's about having that inner guidance that helps us make choices that line up with our values, even when it's tough.
It's about being someone you can be proud of, someone who inspires others, someone who makes a real difference in the world.
So are you ready to be your own Dark Knight?
That's the question, isn't it? Do you have what it takes to face the darkness, to confront your fears, to fight for what you believe in, and to never give up? The choice is yours.
You know, it's crazy, right? Batman is like this legendary figure, but when you break it down, his mindset, it's something we can all relate to. It's not about superpowers. It's about the choices you make, how you face those tough times.
That's why he's so powerful as a symbol, I think. He shows us that we all have that potential for greatness no matter what.
Yeah, and his world is messed up, right? Corruption, chaos, crazy villains everywhere. But he never gives up, never loses sight of his mission to protect Gotham.
That kind of dedication, that's a huge lesson for all of us. We've all had those moments,
Yeah.
where you feel like giving up. But Batman shows us that you can choose to be resilient. It's something you build up.
It's about digging deep, finding that strength inside and saying, no, I'm not going to be defeated, even when it feels like everything is against you. Think about that time Bane broke his back.
Oh, yeah.
He could have stayed down, but he fought back, rebuilt himself, mentally and physically.
It's like those setbacks, they can actually make you stronger.
Hmm.
That whole journey back from that injury, it wasn't just physical. It was about facing his limits and pushing past them.
So it's not about avoiding the tough stuff. It's about learning how to deal with it, using it as fuel, to become even more resilient, more determined.
It's about seeing those challenges as chances to test yourself to see what you're really made of. Batman doesn't run from danger, he runs towards it.
But he doesn't just jump in without thinking right. He's always analyzing things, coming up with a plan.
Oh, he's always strategizing?
Gathering information.
He's like a detective, a chess player, thinking a few steps ahead, figuring out what his opponent is going to do and how to counter it.
That strategic thinking is something we could all use a little more of.
Yeah.
Instead of just reacting emotionally, you take a step back, look at the situation, and figure out a smarter way to approach it.
Every problem is like a puzzle to be solved.
Right.
You got to observe, think critically, try different things until you find the answer.
It's not enough to just have a plan A.
Hmm.
You got to be flexible, adjust as things change, just like Batman does when a new villain pops up or there's a twist in the case.
Being adaptable, being able to think on your feet, that's crucial.
Especially in today's world, right? Things are constantly changing.
Yeah, you got to be comfortable with the unknown. And that's where that ability to stay calm under pressure, that's where that comes in. Batman doesn't freak out.
Right.
He takes a breath, analyzes, and then acts.
That's a skill I think we could all benefit from. Being able to stay focused even when everything's going crazy.
It's about trusting yourself, your gut, your skills. Batman believes in his training and his abilities. That's why he can stay cool, even when the odds are stacked against him.
So we've got resilience, strategy, adaptability. But there's another piece of the Batman mindset. His dedication to his mission, to doing what's right.
His moral code.
Yeah, he's got this clear sense of right and wrong, and he doesn't waver. He's not tempted by easy solutions or pressure to compromise.
He's like a rock solid in his commitment to justice.
That's what makes him so inspiring.
Yeah.
That unwavering integrity makes people trust him, believe in him.
It's about knowing your values and having the courage to stand by them no matter what, even when it means you got to sacrifice something.
Do the right thing even when nobody's watching, because it's the right thing to do.
That's what earns you respect from yourself and others.
And it's about understanding that true strength doesn't come from power or dominating others. It's about doing what you believe is right, even when it's tough. Look at Batman. He could use his money and power for himself, but he doesn't. He uses it to fight for others, to protect the innocent.
So it's about finding that purpose, that thing that's bigger than you, that drives you to make a positive difference.
And having the guts to stand up for what you believe in, even if it's not popular, even if it's risky.
It's about recognizing that we all have the potential to be heroes in our own way. We might not have Batman's gadgets or his money, but we can all make choices that matter. We can all fight for what's right.
That's powerful stuff. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back with more insights from the Batman mindset. All right, so we're back, and we've been talking about this Batman mindset, right? Resilience, strategy, commitment, all that good stuff. But I think what really makes Batman different is how he handles all that darkness without letting it, take over.
Yeah, he walks a fine line, that's for sure. Surrounded by all that corruption and violence, yet somehow he stays human.
Right. He could easily snap, become as brutal as the guys he's fighting. But he never does. He always chooses justice, not revenge.
It's a choice we all face, really. We all have that light and dark inside us. The question is, which one will we feed? Which one will guide our actions?
So it's not about pretending we don't have those negative feelings.
Right.
The anger, the frustration, the pain. It's about understanding them and then making the choice to act from a better place with compassion, empathy.
It's about how you respond to those challenges, the darkness you come up against. Do you let it turn you bitter and cynical? Yeah. Or do you rise above it? Be a force for good, for healing.
I mean, look at Batman, right? He could easily become this vengeful vigilante, taking the law into his own hands.
Right.
But he doesn't. He works within the system to make it better because he believes Gotham can be better.
And that's such an important message, especially these days when everything feels so chaotic. It's easy to just give up, to think
Yeah.
nothing you do matters. But Batman shows us that we always have a choice. Do we want to be part of the problem or part of the solution?
It's about owning your actions. And it's about understanding that even the small things matter. Little acts of kindness, courage, compassion. They can make a difference. They can create a ripple effect.
Think about the people Batman inspires. Commissioner Gordon, Robin, even just regular people in Gotham. He shows them that even when things are darkest, there's still hope. Good can still win.
So how do we tap into that kind of strength, that resilience, that commitment to making things better? Where do we even start?
I think it starts with knowing yourself, being honest about your strengths and weaknesses, those darker parts of yourself you might want to hide. It's about recognizing those negative emotions, figuring out where they come from, and then making the choice to act according to your values.
So you don't try to bury those impulses, you transform them.
Use them to grow, to change for the better.
And you surround yourself with people who lift you upright.
Absolutely. Think about Alfred. He's more than just a butler. He's like Batman's anchor. He gives him advice, wisdom, guidance.
He keeps Batman grounded, reminds him of his humanity, especially when things get really dark. We all need people like that in our lives. People who challenge us and help us be our best selves.
Can find things that feed your soul, that bring you joy, art, music, nature time with people you care about, whatever it is that helps you connect to something bigger than yourself.
So it's about finding that balance, I guess, between the dark and the light, the challenges in the wins.
It's about remembering that you're not alone. We all have our own darkness to fight. But we also have the potential for love, for compassion, for connection.
Yeah, and in those connections, that's where we find the strengths to keep going, to keep fighting for a better world.
You got it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Batman mindset, I think the biggest takeaway is this. We all have the potential to be heroes. We might not wear capes and masks, but we can all make choices that make a difference, that make the world a little bit better.
Find your purpose and then step into the world with courage, compassion, and the belief that you can make a difference.